Tikasho here, and I'm here with my friend Mandy to discuss the 62nd episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, and it goes by the title Great Entertainment Duel Tournament. So basically, the episode is Enjoy Shojiro kind of gets together this tournament or whatever. It wasn't really a tournament because in the end it was only Yuya, him, and Shingo Sawatari who were playing Battle Royale. But the goal was to distract the guards enough for Crow and what's his friend's name?
Shingo?
No, Crow's friend, the one with the purple hair.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name.
Let's see if I can find it here. Oh, Chingy.
Chingy.
Yeah, kind of similar to Shingo. So.
Okay.
So it was Chingy and Crow who were planning a breakout, and well, that's where it all started. So I think we saw a new card from Sawatari, didn't we?
Yeah, it's a continuous spell. Its name is Underworld Stage Relationship of the Seven Lucky Gods. It's an interesting one because it has an unusual effect, and the effect is the following one. Once per turn, during each player's main phase, the turn player can target one monster they control. Place that target underneath this card. Also destroy all other monsters they control. While this card is on the field, the turn player draws one additional card for their normal draw during their draw phase for each of their monsters underneath this card. Well, I say that it has an unusual effect because there's no card in the actual game that could do that effect. For example, there's no spell card that you can attach another card besides the Axis monster, of course. Of course, the interesting part of this card is its effect as well. You draw an additional card for each monster you control, and since the Shingo's deck is a pendulum monster, he could take advantage of this card because he could attach a monster to this card and destroy the rest of these monsters. But since he's running a pendulum deck, his monster will go to the extra deck face up instead to the graveyard, meaning that in the next turn he could special summon again these monsters and destroy again to attach another card. So he could have draw power and field advantage at the same time.
Yeah, that card kind of reminds me of the Grand Spellbook Tower. It gives you a chance to draw multiple cards per turn.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't know, it seems kind of like a fragile strategy. I guess we would see how it actually works in the OCG, because these cards start out like that, but they get better. Sometimes they are fixed when they are brought into the OCG and then subsequently the TCG. And they also revealed the proxies for the other Underworld troop monsters, right?
Yeah, that's the Underworld troop as the archetype that Shingo Sawatari is running. Underworld troop is an archetype of Fiend Dark monsters, pendulum monsters. So far he got this archetype have 3 monsters: Underworld troop Funky Comedian, Underworld troop Big Star, and Underworld troop Devil Hill. The Big Star is you could say that is the boss of this deck, because each turn you can search for a spell of this archetype, while the other 2 monsters are pendulum monsters that works like a buffer, attack modifiers. One of them can increase the attack of your own monsters, and the other decrease the attack of your opponent's monsters.
Once again, another similarity with Spellbook. I mean, the ability to search spells.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, the spells are called. I mean, what are they called? The spell archetype.
Yeah, I don't.
It has something to do with books. I'm pretty sure.
Underworld script.
Oh yeah, scripts. Yeah, so even at that, it's kind of similar, but we will see how they operate when they introduce to the OCG and then the TCG.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting archetype.
So that's enough of that. I think there's another interesting detail that was revealed in this episode, and that is that Yugo and Yuzu are entering the Friendship Cup. And another detail is that the security boss guy, the snobbish looking, yellow haired, rich guy that moves his chess pieces while the security do all the work, that guy seems to be planning to interrupt the Friendship Cup and arrest Yuzu and Yugo, which are on their wanted list. And that's pretty annoying if you ask me, because they have interrupted like 1 or 2 duels so far, and it's getting kind of annoying, to see unfinished duels.
Indeed it is, but I hope that that doesn't happen this time, because also I'm looking forward to see Jack Atlas dueling against Yuya. That would be an epic duel in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I also want to see how Yuya will interact with Yugo as well. Something tells me that they may have a bit of a clash.
Yeah, that could be. But speaking about the jailbreak, because, according to the plot of this episode, they wanted to. Akron was planning a jailbreak, and in order to save Yuya, so he was planning to make him stay out of his plan, because he learned from Shojido that if someone escaped from prison, their friends that left behind will take the punishment. So in order to avoid to Yuya take the punishment, he told Yuya that you're not longer my friend. It was kind of hard, but at the same time a good action from.
Yeah, it didn't make sense at first, but then we thought, hey, maybe he's trying to, avoid Yuya the unpleasantness of being punished after they break out, because the plan was that only Crow and Shinji would break out, and as you may already know if you saw the episode, a lot of more people ended up breaking out.
Yep. And another thing that I found interesting on this episode, we see that we already talked about this, about how easily you can bribe the guards in this jail, and in order to make the jailbreak successful, the Shojido minions was throwing red cards to the guards so they can be distracted in order to make the jailbreak successful. It was kind of, I found this funny, because it kind of reflects the real life, how many persons can be easily bribed, and how easily can some people be bribed in order to stop for doing their jobs.
It seemed kind of silly, even if you can introduce it to real life and to real corruption, but it seemed kind of silly that guards would be going gaga over cars, even if they are rare. I mean, how much value could they have to them, which they are not in prison like the rest of the people? I mean, I can see how normal things can increase in value inside a prison when they are scarce, but for guards, that's absolutely silly. They can go out.
Well, of course, but in real life, of course, you cannot bribe someone with real cards, at least not a rational person. But as you can see in the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, cards are like currency, have a real high value, and the fact that you can bribe the guards in this prison is kind of reflects that in real life that you can actually bribe many persons with money.
Yeah, so basically, if we imagine that the cards are money, and we imagine that instead of throwing rare cards, they're throwing like $100 bills all over the place, then that sort of makes sense.
Of course.
So another thing, you know, Sean seems to be one heck of a fighter. He broke out with barely any help. The help he did get, however, was from Gung. And furthermore, Serena was helped out by Dennis. So we basically have the whole squad already, ready to get out. I do have to criticize, however, that not much of what's happening here has the proper development. I mean, I don't know how the heck Dennis got into where Serena was. I don't know how Sean first got out from wherever he was. So it kind of went too quick, you know. Maybe they didn't want to have the gang in the prison for one more episode, but it missed a bit of development. Just so you know what actually happened.
Well, but it seems that the plot of the whole season is taking shape. Now the whole group is eventually gonna reunite again with more allies. So far they got Crow, that everybody knows that he's the Blackwing user, and everybody knows that Crow in 5D was a strong duelist, and of course this Crow, that in my opinion is not the same Crow, but this Crow is very strong as well. It's a strong duelist, so that means that they have a strong ally. If things going well, they eventually may take Jack Atlas as their ally as well.
Yeah, I hope they even take Yugo as an ally as well.
Of course.
So in the next episode, basically they're gonna fight the Goyo King. That's the name of the episode. Something that has to do with the Goyo King. But because they're gonna be met outside the prison, some, I would say, officers or whatever. They look kind of funny. They have like a SWAT kind of looking gear. Just associate them with SWAT, and so they're gonna go all out basically. In the preview, you would see that Sean got his Rice Falcon out, and it basically means that they're gonna be using monsters as if they were Pokemon or something, you know? Yeah, sorry for that comparison, but they're actually gonna use them to go to war, basically. And I think that as the series goes on, we're gonna see more of that, because that's the kind of thing Yuya was trying to avoid at first, because he says that dueling is not for fighting and dueling is for smiles, but he's gonna eventually have to suck it up and fight the fight he needs to fight in order to save Yuzu.